And so to answer your question, it started first in sales, and then in sales training, and then it moved into training and then speaking. All along the way, there's this driving force that I wanted to make sure nobody else started the way I did, with having no help and no support. And so I looked at these different things. Even as a speaker, when I first started, 3, 4 years in, I had no mentor. It wasn't until that point. And there's some goods out of that, Kelly, because I was getting paid in my first year as a speaker, and years later, I went to like the speaking conferences and with these association speakers, and they're like, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't charge for speaking. You're just starting." And I'm like, "Should I go give the money back? What do you mean?" Like, I didn't know any better, so ignorance is bliss. But that was because I had no mentors. That was a good thing that came out of it. But the bad thing is, it took me so long to learn everything in the trenches. For instance, Steve Jobs. I said I want to learn how to crush it on stages. I need to start studying speakers that other people vote as some of the best presenters. And Steve Jobs always came up on those lists. So one of the things that changed me at my core as a speaker was I went and watched the Steve Jobs presentation, and I looked for things he was doing that I wasn't. And one of the big things was I noticed he had hardly any slides, and the slides he had just had images on them. And then I looked at my slides, and my slides were like covered in words and bullet points and everything. And I'm like, why am I even showing up? Why don't I just email them the PowerPoint? Like, it made no sense for me to deliver a presentation where all they were doing is looking at the screen and marking down notes. And I included in that second that what Steve Jobs was doing was brilliant on multiple levels. One, you get a visual image that supports the story. Two, you don't have to write anything down. Three, it's easier for him. Four, it doesn't interrupt him. Instead of being, it's more of a compliment to him. And so all those things, I basically inputted that, and my approval rating as a speaker went from about 70, I think we figured it was 72 or 73% at the time, to 94% overnight. And what I'm getting at, Kelly, is if I would have had a mentor teaching me that, I would have learned that 4 years earlier. So this is a full circle to circle back and say, what got me doing with this is I didn't have a mentor when I started, and I wanted to make sure anything I was passionate about, I became that mentor for other people. And that's how I got into helping people both selling and speaking on stages.